Hello everyone, and welcome to another of Mrs. Kiely's art tutorial video. In this video, we will be painting a translucent grape. These fruit are very lovely to paint because they reflect light as well as allow light to travel through them. And it's a good thing to try to study the effects that it has on light. So this is a study painting, a practice, an exercise. We're not going for a pretty, final piece of artwork. So we've got our fresh page in our sketchbooks. We need a ruler and a pencil, and we're going to mask off our area that we're going to paint in. And we're using acrylic paints today. Find 0 on your ruler, put it at the top of your sketchbook page. My sketchbook is 8.5 by 11. And let's put a measurement of 2 inches off the top of the page and a second one so that when we line them up that they will be straight. And we'll go 1 inch off the physical edge of the page on the side, and again a second measurement. And this is going to be 6 across the top, 6 inches across the top of the page, and 6.5 inches down the side. There we go. We'll measure another 6.5. 6.5. Got lots of lines. Put our ruler along them. And let's work smart, not hard. Put 6 right where our last line was. We know we want it to be 6 across. And it's just a matter of connecting the dots. And there we go. So our box, our workspace is 6.5 long, tall, and 6 wide. Next step in preparing our painting space is to take some masking tape, and we're going to put some masking tape along the sides of our painting space. I'm going to de-stick my tape just a little so that I don't tear it when I peel it off at the end of this thing. There we go. Nice. Again. There we go. And another one. And the last masking. I really like masking my paintings in my sketchbook because when I peel off the sides, it makes it look so much more neat and tidy instead of having ragged edges. That's just my preference. There we go. We can set the tape aside, and you need to pull out a little thing of water. One for drinking and one for your paintbrushes, but don't get the two mixed up. It does not taste good. Need a couple brushes, whatever you prefer. And then in your palette, nice space looking kind of tidy-ish. Fat chance. Okay, this is my palette. It's just a simple Basel margarine lid. Let's take our primary colors out. I have a lemony yellow, or an ochre would be okay too. Pour some of that in. Red and blue. Oh, the magical primary colors. The blue is rude. And we're going to take some white. Put that off to the side there. Am I going to take out black? No, not yet. I'm going to challenge you to hold off on the black. We'll get to it. But just, don't put the temptation on your palette just yet. And then your handy dandy paper towel. Just can't paint without it. All right, we're going to set up our drawing space with our pencil. We're going to paint just a single grape on a table. So these measurements don't matter as much. This is the edge of the table. This is the surface of the table that the grape is going to be sitting on. There we go. And we're going to zoom in on our grape. And I'm going to put it on the rule of thirds line. So if I divided up my drawing space into thirds like that, I think the line would be around here. So a grape is a simple oval shape. Remember to go over it a couple times till you get that nice oval shape. You probably won't get it right the first time. That's okay. That's all right. Okay. We don't need that line anymore. Alrighty then. And then we're going to put the shadow, the cast shadow, we're going to mark that down. It's going to come out. And it's going to mimic the general ellipse shape of our grape. All right, so this study is all about how light hits a grape and is also able to pass through the flesh of the grape and the interesting effects that that has. So let's imagine that our light source is coming from way over here. You don't have to draw that. You know what your imagination. And the light source is going to be coming across onto this grape. Now the direct hit is going to hit here. This is going to be a very cold white, shine off the grape. It doesn't get warmed up by the flesh of the grape. It's going to pass through like a diagonal line, and it's going to warm and brighten softly, gently this side. It's going to come across, and it's also going to have an effect on the shadows. So if the light does manage to get through, then it's going to get into the shadow. So I've just ever so lightly marked in these lighter spots. We're painting a red grape. Okay. And if all the light's coming across this way from the light source, then over here is going to be a little darker when we get to the grape. Okay. So just like a little hint. I don't want to see your outlines when you apply the paint and call it done. Okay, so even this one is going to have to be hidden underneath layers of paint. It's good that you have it now, right? But not later. So I like to encourage my students to work from the background of their paintings to the foreground. There's a few reasons for this. One of them is you feel like you've accomplished a lot when you get the background done because the majority of the empty space is background, right? So you get a lot done, and then all you have to do is work on this one, the foreground stuff. Also, like, let's say you paint and then you want to go back around. It's really hard to remix colors. So let's do a really good job getting right up to the edge of our grape to cover the area well. All right, because our grape is red, let's do some green, natural looking greens, olive greens and creamy greens for this. It will make the red stand out and be a stronger composition if we use complementary colors. So how do we get green, girls and boys? We've got yellow and blue. Very good. I'm kidding. Okay, so this is very, very bright. This is a super saturated color. Woo, it's lovely. It's so vibrant. Let's tone it down. So the way you tone down colors is you take its contrasting color, and that would be red, and we're going to put that in there. I didn't take much. And it settled that color down quite a bit. Look at that. Just that little bit of red made a huge difference. And I want to bring the value up. I want to lighten it as well. So we're going to draw in some white. A little softer. I wanted it a little bit more yellow. There we go. Now, remembering that our light source is over here, it's going to have some effect on the background as well, right? So this area is going to be lighter and slowly, gradually, not some dramatic change, but it's going to be darker over here as we move across the canvas. Still very saturated, Mrs. Kiely. I know. What are you going to do? I have a bright mood and my paintings are going to be bright as a result. Trying to get a nice clean edge here. Go. And keep going. And if I want to darken it a little as we go across, I'm going to add in some blues, some reds. Sure. It's a big difference. Way to go. Since I've gone and slopped it onto my painting, I'm committed. I have to figure out how to make these colors work together. And that's okay. I like these challenges. I'm just going to go back over to where I was and we'll blend these in. No big deal. Come on, you. Acrylics dry so quick. There is no time for checking your phones. There is no time to be scrolling through what song are you going to listen to while you work today, or what Netflix show are you going to have playing in the background. There's no time for that. Once the paint is poured, you're committed to moving quickly and focusing on this. There we go. It's all good. You want to get set up beforehand. So you can curl up into this job, this task, this treat. There's people out there who are watching this video for homework and they're like, this is not a treat, Mrs. Kiely. There we go. And now I'm going to make the tabletop just a little lighter, more of a creamier surface than this vibrant green. We don't want our colors to be oversaturated. It'll be a very garish painting. So I'm going to calm everything down. There we go. Just a nice, neutral, natural looking green tabletop surface. I'm staying in the family of greens so that my red grape will stand out. Challenge here is to have those nice crispy edges. Learn your tool brush. Learn your tools. And it's your paintbrush, which is your tool. Oh, someone gave me a like. Wow, thank you. I didn't stay for very long. That's okay. You know that expression, like, dance like nobody's looking, nobody's watching. I teach like nobody's present. Yeah. Whatever. Oh my, look at that. Who jumped on for the ride? Blue did. Get out of here. Nobody invited you. There we go. Blend blue back in. Ta-da! Not too shabby. That's okay. I'm kind of okay with that because it makes this side a little colder. Hey, happy mistakes. Happy little trees. Okay. So I am going to clean my paintbrush off because I want to make a new color with no white messing around in it. So I'm going to take my red and my blue, little red, and some yellow. And I'm going to work at making a darker color. This is the edge of the table. And I am going for more of a brown than a green. So that requires a bit more red and yellow than blue. Okay, what do we have? What do we have? Oh, well, it's dark. Is it purple? Is it brown? You tell me in the comments. Hello, visitor. All right, let's just jump in there. Let's do it. Let's not overthink these things. It's just an exercise, right? And if you're watching this, we're trying to get this done in a 90-minute period. So we don't have time to debate what the color is. We got to go, go, go. Nice hard edges. Slow down for those. If you've got shaky hands, or you had just a little too much coffee at lunch, you need to slow down so that you can have better control. You can't just whip through those unless there's tape guiding your way. All right. Last little swipe. You can do it. Oh, nope. Tack it the other way. There we go. Nice. There we go. So that's the edge of our table. And look, we got most of the painting done. Doesn't that feel great? We're so much closer to being finished than we were before, and that didn't take us really long. So let's pat ourselves on the back for that accomplishment. I noticed a little wee white spot. That's unacceptable. Good enough. 18 minutes, and we got a good chunk of this painting done. Okay, so now we're going into the grape itself, and we are going to be painting this one red. And no way are we going to hop right into this solid Crayola colored red, primary red. We're going to tone this down just like we tried to tone down the green, but green was not having it today. It's determined to be vibrant. So let's see what we can get out of this red. That's settled. I'm making it right where I was with the mix for the dark color. And by painting and mixing in puddles that we've already mixed colors in, that creates a sense of unity throughout the whole piece. So I'm satisfied with this color. It's a nice wine color. I'm going to avoid painting on that white highlight spot. I don't want to cover that up necessarily. Maybe parts of it. Because the nice thing about acrylics is that they are opaque. It's not like we're working with watercolors and they're transparent and you can see through it and you'll never cover it up as nicely. So acrylics, I think, are a very friendly paint. They work with you. They're just impatient. They want you to get the job done quick. Wow, my viewer's still with me. I am really impressed with you. Whoever you are, if you're one of my students, you need to tell me that you stuck around. Or maybe you accidentally left the window open and you're I put the chat off. I don't want to hear it. I'm too nervous. Believe it or not, I am a little shy in real life. I know you're laughing. All right. So we wanted this area to be darker anyways. Get your paint strokes to kind of mimic the contours, the roundness, the form of the fruit. Don't want any white showing, so we got to get right in there. Das is good. Think about that sphere activity. If you are one of my students, I'm sure that you have been asked to draw a sphere. If you're not one of my students and you've never drawn a sphere before with pencils, go do that right now. It is such an important learning experience where you study the way light hits a round object and shadows are created as a result. So just Google image a sphere and study it. You want to get good in art? That's definitely one of those things you have to do. All right, so my paints are getting a little dry. I'm going to dip my paintbrush in water to just kind of bring it back. And I'm going to do a wash, and I do plan to do an artistic techniques on acrylics, but a wash is just like a really watered down layer. So I'm going to do a wash here. I want that to not be so vibrant, and I might even poke at this a little. Because even though the light's coming through there, it's going to be a color that's a little orangier, yellower, it still has that red into it. And I said this side needed to be a little darker. Remember, we're talking about the diagonal coming across over here. We need to make that a smidgen darker. There we go, because the light's not getting into this. So we're adding layers of paint, and that is good. Never be satisfied or put like the heavy expectations of the first layer to be your final layer. That's just putting too much pressure on that poor little layer. It's just your first one. Chill out. Keep going. Keep building it up. Nobody expects you to be perfect at the first go. Okay? Okay. All right. Let's talk about those shadows. Cast shadows. And then we'll get into the light. I promise. I promise. Relax. So the shadows on the green table, we definitely need to be in the greens over here, but we need to darken the heck out of it, and that requires red. I know, you're like, what? I was just in greens. No, it's in reds. And let's bring in some blue to cool it off. Wow, too much. Settle down. It's all because I have one viewer, whoever you are. You're making me hyper. It's a good thing. All right. So remember we left a little bit of glow to this shadow? Try to steer clear of it for now. Get right up. Fix up those lines. Nice, hard, clean edges. Don't be sloppy. If you're looking and reflecting upon, self-reflecting on your painting skills, and you're saying, oh my gosh, my paint strokes are very sloppy, ask yourself, were you rushing? Were you just getting it done rather than doing it well? Take your time. Boo boo. There we go. Sometimes twisting the brush helps keep that a consistent layer of paint coming off it. All right. There we go. And then I'm going to do a wash in that spot to make it not so crazy bright. Or I mean, like opaque. Paper towels. So wet your brush, take a wee bit of a puddle. It's just a watery layer, okay, just to take the white off the paint. Okay, so the light that's coming straight from the light source and hitting the object is going to be cold. It doesn't get warmed up by the flesh of the grape. It's bouncing right off. So take clean white. Make sure your brush is clean. Make sure your white hasn't been contaminated by any other colors. Just your clean white. And you can pop that on there. And I like to kind of just, I don't want an even shape, like a perfect shape. I want the edges to be a little, I don't know, natural looking. Nothing's perfect. Too much water on my brush. I'm going to just dab a little. All right, call that done. It's a very shiny one. Now over here, we're talking about light that's managed to penetrate through the flesh of the grape and get out the other side, but it's been influenced by it all, by the flesh. So we're going to hop into yellow. It's a much warmer light rather than this cold white light. And we're going to bring some red over here. Yep, you can see. Good. Tra-la-la. What have we got? We have yellow and orange. Yellow and red make orange. Test out your colors before committing. All right, let's see what happens. Again, if it's a total flop, we can always paint over it. It's all good. I'm going to put this on here. It's a little dark for my taste. I don't know. I want my grape to be a bit happier, a little bit brighter. Put this glow. There we go. Last time I did this, it was like a straight line. It looked like a cartoon. Just didn't quite look right. So teardrop is the way to go. And I've cleaned my brush. I'm going to use the dry brush technique. It's a little damp. And I'm just going to gently pick up some paint and blend it out with a dry brush that is a little damp. There we go. Just soften a little. Don't want to be crazy. It's just our happy little grape. Yep. And then same thing, like let's put that warmth. Let's go with a bit more yellow. Put that warmth over here. And because we've thinned out our paint, it's sort of transparent. And with the dry brush technique, it's allowing the darker shadow to remain present and not get covered up entirely. Ooh, that's not too shabby. Actually, that's not bad at all. It's quite a stark shadow though, don't you think? Stark meaning like pretty intense. Like, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to wake up the color I had used for the table surface. And what happens? Now, this is the nice thing about having all these color swatches. I have that shadow still kicking around. It's dried up. What happens if I do a wash over top of that? And I think I kind of like it. So, woohoo, let's gamble. Let's see, it's still wet. Kylie, settle down. I'm going to do it just because I didn't like how intense, how dark that shadow was. And I can feather out and soften those edges a little bit. Just a little too much. I think they're being a little dramatic, a little too Baroque. Did you see that? It splattered a little. Now, if you're working your paint too much on the paper, it'll start to like chunk off, and you just need to either let it dry. Yeah, you just need to let it dry. You need to walk away. It's telling you stop fussing me. You need to respect its spaces and its boundaries. All right. A smaller paintbrush for those tighter corners. Hey, settle down, you. All right, I'm still at 32 minutes. I don't know if you've been able to keep up with me in this video. It's okay if you didn't. That's the nice thing about learning from videos. You can stop and start them, rewind, speed them up. I'm going too slow for you. I wouldn't go too fast though. All right, this is important. This little shadow here tells the viewer whether, is the grape floating or is it on the table? Shadows deserve, the dark deserves the same amount of attention as the subject matter. Just splashing paint all over the place. I'm dropping my paintbrush. You saw that too. Great. Now it's a comedy. Whoever you are, I hope you're having fun. Here we go. It's okay. It's just a little chunky. It's still good. Well, it's not terrible. Remember, it's just an exercise. We're not going for like an epic finished painting. We're just examining, we're being conscientious of how light can be cold and how it can come through and change and warm up if the object is translucent. Translucent meaning allowing some light through. So there you go. If your paint is dry, you could peel off the tape if you're feeling satisfaction. Peel it off at a 90-degree angle from itself, like an L shape, rather than pulling it straight back. Just gives you better odds. Nothing's perfect. Like, see over here, I have a little two peels. Ooh, 3 peels. Oh, that was a good one. Look at that. That's satisfaction right there. All right, last one. Can we do it? I'm not sure. Get off. There we go. A little bit of tape. Get off my sketchbook. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. That was a good one. Oh, just don't look at that spot. And oh, wow, it's so nice. All right, I'm going to sign it. There you go. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial video about painting with acrylics and studying how light can be cold and warm and the translucency of grapes. I hope you had a great time while painting with me. Remember, my friends, stay awesome and be creative. Until next time.